Yes, yes. From the Northwest.
That
What's everybody
North,
excited?
Northern Touch, right?
Northern Touch, yes.
Love that.
Yeah.
It's been a minute since I've heard that one.
Doom, doom, boom, boom. Yo, you can't bang with us.
But he can't hang with
Hang
us.
with us.
So there's like 7 people on that track.
Yeah.
They're coming down with that note. Baby. What's up, everybody? Geektastic Cypher. Another week, another wild world, another insane adventure that we've been going through. I don't know about you guys, but one of the big things I saw today that I thought was pretty hilarious: cybersecurity is a fake, my friends. Hackers take over Drake, Eminem, Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift, Michael Jackson, and I don't know how many other people's YouTube channels, and start uploading this one specific video repeatedly on all the platforms.
What's the video?
That sounds familiar.
Some weird we just hacked Travis Scott, a Twitter account under the name Los Pelayos, announced in Spanish on Tuesday at 3:37 a.m. They hit Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, Drake, Lil Nas X, Harry Styles, Michael Jackson, The Weeknd, and Eminem. Bieber alone has 68.2 million followers. The hackers uploaded a video titled Justin Bieber Free Paco Sounds featuring Will Smith, Chris Rock, Skinny Flex, and Los Pelayos. Obviously, they were being smart about it, and they put Will Smith and Chris Rock because that's probably the most searched
Big
thing,
yeah.
as we know, in the last recent bit of time.
The only thing that anyone's
they
talked about in
posted up.
weeks. Huh?
What was the actual video? What was the actual video?
The video itself is just like some guy playing the guitar, but not playing it because it's like upside down or backwards or something, singing along to some song. Some weird video. I don't know.
Wasn't that similar? Wasn't that similar to like some years ago where what was his name? The harmonica player from Montreal passed away, and then every single video on YouTube was him basically, and just different names and just him. It was just like a spam of him all over the place.
I mean, I guess so, but if anything, I feel like that was them trying to honor him. This is like these people just hack the biggest names in the world to just put up some weird video. A few months ago, Spanish common man Paco Sanz was sentenced to 2 years in jail for fraud after lying about having terminal cancer and defrauding large amounts of money between 2010 and 2017. The video shows Sanz holding a guitar the wrong way while singing along to a Spanish trap song remixed by La Mafia del Edit, a meme account on Instagram that defended Sanz back in February when he was convicted.
This sounds like a dark web dare.
You know, like whenever I hear stuff like this, I'm always just wondering, where is Anonymous?
Yeah,
I want if these guys are doing this stuff, why isn't Anonymous doing something like this? That's who I want to see.
Well, I mean, I think they're doing stuff with Russia, maybe. I don't know.
I hope so.
Or Belarus. I know. I was watching something recently where I guess hackers from Belarus hacked their train system. Okay. And like delayed a bunch of stuff because Belarus and Russia are together, right? And Russia needs Belarus to like send their stuff to the other side of the Ukraine, basically. Right. And they basically slowed down their trains or stopped them altogether, hacked a bunch of various things, and also they're kind of they were purposely showing the world like, hey, Belarus hasn't updated their system since Windows XP.
Their cybersecurity and their databases are all
on purpose.
Old. Hot damn.
And then also exposing corruption and what the police are doing and saying, and disappearing people that are opposing them and stuff like that, and et cetera, et cetera. So just a lot of that going on. Just saying like, hey, it really wasn't that easy to do this. That's the main point we want to point out right now.
That it wasn't easy to do it?
I mean, sorry, that it was.
Okay, it was. Okay.
That it was. That was extremely easy to do it.
Okay, cool. That's what I thought you wanted to say. I just wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if that's. I was just like, let me double check. But yeah.
That was extremely easy to do.
If someone has Windows XP, even like obviously we're not hackers, but that system was. Which one was the one that was so flawed? Was it Windows 2000 or Windows NT? There's one of them that was so flawed that like
I think it was 2000. I think it was 2000. Okay. And I think Windows XP stopped getting security updates in 2013 14 the last time I checked.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So not even Vista, not even Windows 10.
I don't know what's going on in this world, guys. Will's out here smacking people. Russia's out here invading people.
Jade is agreeing with the world. He went overboard. No one's on his side at all.
Everyone knew he went overboard. Even he said he went overboard. So I mean,
she's like, yeah, I didn't need that. That's fine.
Yeah, and I was
just thinking of that movie. Was it Woo? She was in.
Wow, that's a
and the whole trailer of that movie hinged on her like punching out a dude because she was like, no, you didn't need to do that. And bam, knocked out a dude.
I mean, 90s. I know it's been a long time. I don't know if you guys got to see SNL, but Jerrod Carmichael's monologue was perfect.
Oh, I didn't get to see the monologue.
Oh, dude, you got to watch the monologue.
I'll go hunt for it.
So his special Nathaniel came out. I don't know if any of you have seen it. I was trying to figure out a way to review it. I don't know if I can review it because of what it is, but I will say this. Watching it from home, I enjoyed it. But if I had paid a ticket to go to a comedy show and that was the show he gave me, as much as I would have been honored to be a part of the experience, I would have been like, this isn't a comedy show. Where is my comedy show?
So I wonder if on the ticket it would explain like this is not a comedy show. If you want a refund,
if it's if you want to sell it as a one-man show or an improv one-man show, I'm down with that. I think the idea of a comedy show is specific, like a stand-up special or a comedy special has a specific thing in mind. And what he did wasn't that. It was very entertaining. It was very interesting. It was fun to watch. I learned a lot about him. I learned a lot about his life, the interesting process that he went through, coming out of the closet to his family and everything he had to deal with.
Yeah.
But I didn't find it comedic, which is fair because I feel like dealing with coming out to the closet to a somewhat, and I say somewhat because I don't know that all the members of his family are, but quite a few sound like they are homophobic. And he's coming out and he had to deal with a lot of that. And he's telling that story. And I found that very interesting. But I mean, you know, what's the saying? Comedy is trauma plus time. Something like that. Is it?
Well, drama. It's always said drama. Comedy is derived by drama.
Pain plus time. Hold on.
Oh yeah, pain. That's what it is. I think. Pain plus time.
Comedy is pain plus.
Yeah, that sounds
comedy
familiar.
is pain plus time. And comedy is tragedy plus time. There we go. That's the quote.
Right.
Comedy is tragedy plus time. And I feel like what I saw was the tragedy with no time. Like no time had passed yet. So it wasn't comedic yet for me, at least. But again, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting. It was really special. He had a lot to say.
But isn't that in the same vein? I think he did something similar like that, where I think him and his family were talking about troubles and stuff like that they had. I can't remember if that was like a last special or a thing that he had with his family, and they were just kind of. I can't remember if it was like a mini series or something or a doc that he did.
Oh, maybe because I know his last two specials I had watched the same day before I watched the new one because Nathaniel came out and premiered I think last week. Friday, so I watched it live when it premiered on HBO, and I'd watched his other two specials before. So that was the other thing because I had prepared myself after from watching those two specials. Imagine you watch like a Chris Rock special, and then Chris Rock does an hour of talking about his family and the abuses he felt as a child growing up in Brooklyn with no attempt at comedy. Like
He's
the comedy comes naturally because of his situation was just so unfortunate. So you're kind of like laughing at some of the stuff because you're just like, oh, we're laughing with you and through your pain. But some of it was just like him talking about his relationship with his mother and being unsure what that's going to look like
in the future. Yeah.
And not knowing if he has enough time because she's older. And it's just like, I don't want to think about parents' mortality. You know, Skinny out here talking about wanting to live till 100 or something so he can get revenge on people.
Yeah, no, it wasn't vengeance though.
Oh, sorry, spite. Out of spite.
The spite that's slight. That's it. The slight that's spite.
Oh yes.
Well, you know what? You know what helps you live long, right? Hate. Meet a grandpa that's the evil mofo. You live forever.
But that's it. So, I mean, it's fun. And that's the thing. Watching the special from my house, I was just like, oh, this is interesting. Had I bought, if I was going to Just for Laughs and bought a ticket after 2 years of being in a pandemic and sat down and you get on stage and start talking about, I don't know if I have enough time to process the relationship with my mother before she passes. And she currently isn't dealing with my homosexuality. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Did I just walk in on your on your session?
Yes. Yeah. I was listening to a solo therapy session, and I mean, again, fun, but whoa, that would have been heavy as an in-person thing. And then there are some times where he's outright just not talking, and the audience is talking, like asking him questions, like, "Do you think your mom will be okay?" Like, what was the one? Would you be okay if your mom never accepted it? Can you move on?
Oh.
And like you have questions like this again.
Yeah,
comedy show.
Like, this sounds like an intervention of some. It's like he did it. You know what? It's like a reverse intervention
session. It really did sound like.
Yeah. But no, because this way he's still trapping you. That's why I'm comparing it to a reverse intervention, because instead of us trapping him, he's trapping everyone else.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming to my comedy special. So in 1996
but
I still have you all this exact same way, but I'm a little bit different right now.
Yeah I'll say this though, if you guys are fans of his, and as I am, as my buddy is, and him and I talk about Jerrod Carmichael pretty often,
Mobs?
I would say, sorry?
Friend of the show, Mobs?
Yeah, Mobs Goodness. I would say watch this. I would say watch it. It's a good watch. It is an insightful story that you're watching unfold in front of you real time, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I have nothing bad to say about it. Again, my reaction is more thinking of people who were there, who were probably thinking like, I just wanted to laugh today. Can I just get a joke? Can I get a joke, y'all?
I wonder how they marketed that.
I mean, I feel like they did a good job at marketing it because
for the live show.
Oh, sorry. Okay, that's
for the live show. Like, how did it? Like, did they say it's a one? Like, I mean,
we'll cry till you laugh.
Gonna cry till you. ... Ellipses. Just like, cry till I what? I'm assuming laugh, right? Just gonna cry.
Yeah. You're gonna feel someone else's pain. You'll empathize with someone's emotional heartbreak, dealing with their family.
Imagine that's what he's writing down. He's like, how am I going to get them? And he's just like writing the word empathy and just like highlighting it over and over, underlining it.
Empathy. ____.
So good.
Big marker.
But yeah, did you guys get to watch his SNL when he was on SNL?
No, I only got to see the Will Smith and Chris Rock skit that I showed you guys. Yeah, which I thought was pretty funny. Like, imagine you're sitting behind Will Smith and that goes down. So you're sitting behind him. You're like, oh my god, it's Will Smith. He's talking. Hold on a second, and he goes up, comes back. You just see what happens, and he's like, yo, do you want to take a picture? Like, no, I think I'm okay. It's like, and then your friend comes back. Oh, I was in the bathroom. What did I miss?
Yeah, and then he looks up. The best part was when, because I don't like Mooney on SNL, but I will admit when he looked at his phone and the emotion in his face of like smiling, being like, "Oh, Will Smith's trending. Oh my god, what did I miss?" Like, I thought that was super well done. I got to give him credit for that one because usually I don't like that dude.
And then also the Weekend Update was pretty funny too.
Yeah, yes. Some of it was harsh stuff. It was like getting there. I was like, that's what you're gonna get.
I love the Weekend Update.
I think my favorite part of the Weekend Update is when they get to read each other's jokes.
Oh yeah. That is because Shay will always write the most borderline racist things, sometimes
or straight up racist.
Yeah, you're right.
Because Che thought when they were going to do it originally, Che thought, oh, he's gonna bury me. He's gonna wreck me. I'm gonna wreck his stuff first. And he read his joke. He's like, ooh, you're not gonna like your joke. Your joke's gonna be pretty messed up. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no.
I like that.
I didn't realize that's how they operated. That they give each other their lines.
They only do that. They do that segment every once in a while. They don't do it every week. But
it's golden every single time.
Yeah. Because you can see on Colin's face that he knows he's about to say something that otherwise would get him completely canceled.
Yeah.
And the panic in his face sometimes of like, or the reaction afterwards of just simply being like, oh God, what did you just have me read? And like the face he makes where he looks like embarrassed, but he's laughing, but he's still slightly scared because he's like, oh, that definitely crossed the line. I think it's well done.
I think my favorite was Che got Colin to say, I think it was something about an African leader. They had thought an African leader had passed away. So in some part of Africa, they thought the prime minister or president passed away, but it turned out it wasn't him. It was somebody else. And he's like, see, even Africans can't tell Africans apart. And I'm like, oh my God. And you just see Colin puts his hand in his head down, his head down. He's like, no, why?
The embarrassment. I love it.
Because they don't get to read each other's jokes at all.
Beforehand.
Okay.
They're just going in completely blind.
and this is like obviously known to the audience, I guess.
They announced it. They announced that we're about to do this specific segment where we read each other's jokes. Trust me.
I've not seen this specific segment
because if they did not and Colin made these jokes, Colin would get fired from SNL. Yeah. Like some of those jokes are definitely not okay for a white guy to have written for himself to say.
There was another one where it was recently. This past week, this This country singer was caught saying the N-word on like social media or something like that. And he got dropped by his label, but his record sales went through the roof. And so, and then he was like, so like I've been telling SNL and NBC all along, let me say the N-word and our thing will go through the roof. I was like, oh my God.
What was the other one that Colin had this week that was funny? Oh, Will Smith set a precedence for having to defend your partners at award shows. And it's because he's married to Scarlett Johansson. So he's probably just like, nope, I'm not going to take that one. I think end of the day, I know everyone's tired of it. We've probably all talked about it ad nauseum, but I think the world has finally come around to the idea that Will Smith was wrong. I think at first people were kind of on the fence.
And that it's real.
Yeah. It's real. It's real.
Will Smith was wrong. I think that was the first part. People trying to really make sure that it was actually real as opposed to fake.
Yeah. So be it. I mean, we know now. It was a crazy ass night. Will went wild. Chris said what he said. Comedy is comedy. I
think also too the crazy part was someone posted up just a video of Questlove going up for his award.
Yes.
So as he's going up, he gives Will Smith gives him a dap and a hug.
Yeah.
And then he gets to the podium and Chris Rock is like,
yeah, the face is like, what the hell, dude?
And then if you focus on Chris Rock while Questlove is doing his acceptance speech, Chris Rock is like kind of like processing it.
Yes.
Just like left, awkward. Right. And he's like, oh well.
I guess it is what it is.
It is what it is. Whatever.
I was talking to my mom's about it, and she was so sad for Chris because she's just like, he talks about how much he was abused as a kid, and it just probably was traumatizing to get abused in public. And I was like, oh man, that's such
true. I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, it's such an unfortunately heavy,
or maybe just not this again. Jeez. And then I think I remember they were saying during his first performance back in Boston, he said I have his first thing he said, he got a standing ovation, and he was like, hello Boston, how was your weekend? And then he said, I have no jokes about it right now. This is my set was not building up to anything about this, so like I'll talk about it, let me process it first and I'll talk about it way later. but he had no jokes for it. And then I think there was another thing about what he said after the hit when he was backstage, and he said, "Man, you know, not a lot of people say they can be hit by Muhammad Ali and not have a bruise about it." So he was still joke.
Yeah. I mean, I think if anything, that is the sign of a true comedian. That someone who, because some comedians I've been listening to have talked about the fact that, you know, you get heckled.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get heckled. Sometimes people, you know, when you're on the road, people throw bottles. Some of the stand-up spots on the road have cages in front of them because people throw stuff. So I feel like Chris Rock was shocked that about where it happened, not that it happened. Because I mean, he's probably shocked that it happened, but in the sense that, like, this is not the first time someone's popped me for making a joke that they didn't like. This has been part of my gig, which in itself is a problematic thing. People shouldn't be hitting other people because they don't like a comedy show. But
I've seen like other stuff where I think Avon Crawford, I forgot his name.
Light-skinned dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he I think he was doing a set, and then he did a joke, and then a woman from the crowd came up onto the stage and was trying to argue him about it. And he was like, but everybody else laughed. Did anyone else have an offense to that joke? And everyone's like, no.
I remember. And he like embarrasses her because he really breaks it down. Not even that, like, not even in the sense of embarrassing her by name calling or anything else. He just brought the facts of, this is a comedy show. I made a joke. And then he's pointing out that no one else here is hating on this. This is just you. You have to deal with you. You don't have to be here. And I thought that was respectful. That was one of the best ways to handle that situation.
Yeah, it was like a pure logic bomb that she couldn't refute. So it was like one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to insult you, but if we just look at the facts, and this is what's happened, and you have a decision to make. You could enjoy it, or you could leave.
That's the thing I find funny. Like,
and it was like she was offended for other people that was not her or was not anyone with her or anything like that. It was a weird thing she got offended about, if I remember right.
Yeah, because it was one of those things where if I remember, she even referred to it. It's like, I think she thought it would be all women or something about the joke or something like that.
Who knows? I don't remember. I don't have the joke here, so we can't quote it. But ultimately, her failure, not his.
Yeah,
I think he handled it well. I think one of the things with being a stand-up comedian or being an artist that puts your content out in the public is people are going to react the way they're going to react, and you can't help it. People react that way. If people are going to start getting violent, that becomes a whole major other issue that we have to address in society. I think we're all at the point where we know that that's not okay, and that's just, it is what it is.
But I also think the reason why people took a while to get to like openly say that it was like everyone kind of siding with Chris was that there was like a moment in time that people were just like processing like whether or not it was actually that bad of a scenario.
Even if it was the worst joke on earth,
it wasn't right.
Just cancel Chris for making such a bad joke. Don't physically assault him. Because even if he made the worst joke in the world, the second you put your hands on him, it cancels out kind of what he did.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, Roseanne, when she started making all those rude comments and lost her show, imagine if someone had just gone and smacked Roseanne around. Then no one would have taken her show away because they would have been like, I mean,
and to be like, why are you smacking her? That's not.
Like the universe kind of balanced out. You said something stupid, someone smacked you. Cool, keep doing the show. No one's gonna care anymore. But it's the act of the like. I feel like as humans, we see the situation as at the time. Some people were like, Chris got what he deserved for pushing the line.
Yeah.
But then when you start to peel back and look at it, you're just like, we can't be out here just punching people.
Can't just be out here punching people.
We can't. Like, it's not on the block, and even on the block, you shouldn't be doing that. Usually,
I mean, everyone would just laugh,
right?
And then you probably shove the dude because
the
joke was too hot,
right?
And that would be the end of it. That you just kind of move on.
And then if you're the dude that hangs out in the crew who pops people because you don't like a joke that they made, your crew's not going to hang with you anymore. No one's going to invite you to anything.
It's like, oh, you don't invite me anything. You can't take a joke, man.
Right.
Like, seriously. No, I could take a joke. I like jokes. Yeah, when it's about you go buck wild. Sorry, man. Right. You got to keep you at home.
You start assaulting people. No one wants to be
flipped over the table at the club last time. Remember? Someone just made a little slight joke about your shoes. And then the table was flipped over. We got kicked out the club, but to pay the damages. You don't even want to pay for the damages. Can't bring you anywhere, man.
I like this picture you're painting. That's essentially.
Yeah. I like the details.
Thank you.
What to be a great fibber
in the future.
What has been your crazy world this week, boys?
Well, I just finished watching Moon Knight. Did you guys watch Moon Knight this week?
No.
I watched it.
All right. Well, try not to spoil, but that was Did you see the first one, Wendell?
No. Just go ahead.
All right.
No, Wendell doesn't care. That's the whole point.
I'll catch up.
Well, I'll just say this. It was a pretty good second episode. I was like wondering where they were going to go with the first episode, and I enjoyed that second episode. It answered enough and is like, okay, it's going to keep me on my toes. Let's see where it goes. Well, I don't like the smile you're giving me, but that's my opinion.
I'm putting up the spoiler because I'm about to spoil this one.
Doc Holliday saw everything coming.
In my situation, it's not a matter of whether or not I saw things coming. I think because, and this is one of the things that, much like we said in the past, Dave, with your partner and how your partner hasn't watched or read any of these comic books or watched the movies beforehand, really got into it fresh, and then kind of powered through everything, got to the new shows, and got to experience this stuff in an organic way. These stories are new and interesting. But for me, the fact that Stephen Grant is not Stephen Grant from the comic books and is this weird bumbling guy, and the fact that from what I understand, that decision was made because they didn't want the connections and the correlations between Bruce Wayne and Stephen Grant, that really, really bothers me. Because every time I watch this character, I'm thinking, this isn't an aspect of Moon Knight that I've ever seen before. And yes, we've said it on the podcast before. If you are going to take these characters and write them for a new world, for a new group of people, by all means, write them differently, write new stories, make it interesting. I just don't think they made it better. I don't find this version of Steve Grant is better. The fact that he has no balls, like he's petrified of everything. The dude, the guy at the museum calls him Scotty and doesn't respect him, and he's just constantly like, it's Steven. It's like,
but I think, and this is, again, this is a reach. But I feel, and this is what I would like to see. I'm not saying that this is what they're going to do, because I think they have, considering also that most of the times when you have a bubbling idiot, they're going to evolve at one point. I would like to think that maybe this is the first time Steven is being aware of the scenario, and that over time Steven becomes
the
Bruce that we know, because he's like, you do the stuff, I'm going to enjoy the life. I will handle the paperwork. You be Batman. You know what I mean? Like, that would be a wise direction, that maybe, because if they're going to say, well, we don't want to make the parallels to, like, let's say Batman or Bruce Wayne, because obviously Moon Knight has always been compared to that in a certain regard.
Right.
You already, like, with the second episode, you already ruined it with some of the scenes. Like some of the scenes, I'm like, yeah, it's Batman with a white suit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and not in a bad way, but you're like, if someone were to say, well, where did I see this before? It's Batman in a white suit.
It's Jaden Smith going to a formal.
They might as well have gotten Jaden Smith to play Moon Knight.
I did not know that kid wore his white Batman suit to Kanye and Kim's wedding too.
Oh, to the wedding? Didn't he wear it to prom?
He wore it to a prom dance.
Yeah,
and their wedding.
This is Jaden Smith.
Jaden Smith, white Batman suit. Can I also drop in something too?
Go ahead.
I understand like the Batman and Bruce Wayne parallel they could have as well. But I would assume they also did that because they're like, we already have Tony Stark. We already have T'Challa.
Interesting.
And there's not much of a bold differentiation between their alter ego,
they're
alter ego and themselves
and heroes.
Yeah,
like
they're like Iron Man is Tony Stark. Tony Stark is Iron Man. Tony Stark can be Iron Man even if he has like a left foot and a right plasma blaster and beat up everybody and make up his own kind of kung fu in the third movie. And then same with T'Challa. T'Challa's still very powerful without his suit, fighting the Winter Soldier, and then over the top when he has his suit fighting the Winter Soldier and just running, so I could see why they're like, okay, we really have to kind of
and I'll
go
give
another
credit.
way.
I'll give credit to Dave, because if what you're saying is true, the idea is that this is the early days of Steven, where eventually Mark and Steven start working together, and Stephen Grant becomes a persona that Mark uses to access wealth and access all these other things through that character. I'm more interested in that, and I hope you're right. If that's the direction they take, I'm down for it. If it's not the direction they take, I'm concerned, because if it's not the direction they take and they keep this character as the bumbling guy, like, dude, for example,
you can't.
If you saw the episode today, Mr. Knight being the version of Moon Knight that Grant can bring forward, because Grant doesn't know about the suit. He doesn't understand the power. So when he keeps being told, bring out the suit, he manifests like a 3-piece white suit with the white mask. Mr. Knight comes out, and then he proceeds to be the bumbling idiot as Mr. Knight. And I was so sad, because Mr. Knight is usually such a suave, like, character. The idea behind Mr. Knight is like, I don't know if you guys have seen that panel recently that's been going around online, but it's him saying like, listen, I'm not this guy, or this guy. And he's hanging out at that bar in the Marvel universe where all the supervillains hang out. He's sitting there. The bar with no name, I think is the name. Yeah. So he's sitting in the bar with no name, and he's talking to them, and he's pointing out like, listen, I'm not those guys. And I think you all know that's probably more dangerous, because we don't know what I'm going to do. We don't know what I'm capable of. And that's like, Mr. Knight to me is that character. So when I saw Mr. Knight in this episode, and he was kind of Weasley dude who realizes he has the power and like gets one hard sucker punch in, and then celebrates and turns his back on the monster and then gets his ass whooped. It's like, whoa, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? So, but I hope you're right.
But I don't think they can, like, to your point though, one of the reasons why they shouldn't do that is because they can't continue the bumbling fool. One thing like that would not, I don't feel, even for how this show is filmed, I don't think that would be the direction. I would hope it wouldn't be the direction, because I'd just be an odd, like, it's not a happy-go-lucky relationship or whatever.
Right.
The other reason why I also say that is because if you've noticed, and again, maybe it's just that we haven't seen them yet, but like, he has other personalities outside this as well, right? Like, for me, it's like, when Mark is going to maybe be brought up to speed, maybe that will be at a time where he's like, maybe they will have a conversation where like, you can't do this because you're who you are. You're an international terrorist to whoever. Yeah. I can't do this because I need to keep my persona so I can get us money. Again, assuming that they go to that direction that's long term. And then they'd be like, well, why don't we make more of us?
So, okay, you're saying you think the personas will be created, or they'll just be identities that they use? Like,
I think it'll be like identities that they like. I think it's gonna be kind of a combination of both to a certain degree. You know what I mean?
I'm down with the idea that instead of having multiple personalities, he has Stephen Grant, he has Mark Spector, and then Jake Lockley is an identity he uses. Much like how Bruce Wayne has, what's that dude? Matches?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's Matches. Matches Malone is
Malone. Which we know Matches Malone is essentially Jake Lockley. That's that's the crazy thing about these comparisons between Bruce and Moon Knight, that people get mad. It's like, you have Bruce Wayne, you have Stephen Grant, you have the Fist of Khonshu, Moon Knight, you have Batman, you have Matches Malone, you have Jake Lockley, and then the only character that doesn't really fit is Mark Spector, who's recovering former mercenary, and I guess that's the only differential in the character. Like, that's his original story, but all the others kind of read off as variations on the Bat.
And then the funny thing is, like, at one point, I bet you Batman stole something to Moon Knight, but no one could ever like prove it, because they're gonna be like, Batman's Batman.
Well, I always say, I think I've said it before, but I think that Archangel. No, not Archangel. Yeah, is that his name? Jean.
Azrael.
Azrael. Thank you. I don't know why I'm thinking Archangel. Azrael is essentially Moon Knight, and you replace Khonshu with God.
Oh,
I always thought
was
that.
it or Saint Dumas or Saint something?
Yeah, but whatever Azrael's dedication to his religious holy thing feels to me like how the Fist of Khonshu, Moon Knight, is with Khonshu. And I've always thought that was like DC saw Moon Knight and then said, oh, well, we'll one up you for using similar tropes, and we're going to use Azrael based on one of your tropes, which is that he has this overly religious aspect to his character. And I think it's fair. Marvel and DC have been doing that for years, right?
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
Deathstroke, Deadpool, and then who's the Deadpool in DC? Harley's ex-boyfriend, the guy that uses.
I should know the name of this.
Yeah, there's like a character that's essentially made to look like Deadpool.
Yeah,
that's a comment on, which is funny because you have.
And his name is Slade, right?
No, so you have Slade, Deathstroke, and then Marvel made Deadpool. But then after Marvel made Deadpool, DC turned around and made another character separate from Deathstroke that's an imitation of Deadpool, who uses like wrenches and stuff.
He uses like household equipment type thing.
Yeah, he does,
like construction worker type stuff for some reason.
And he like dated Harley Quinn at one point.
Because that was the whole commentary. It was because a lot of comic book nerds like for sure Harley and Deadpool, if they were in the same universe,
they relationship them together.
Yeah. So it was like a commentary on that at the same time, and at the same time making fun of Deadpool because like DC's for sure upset at being like, you took one of our more serious characters and
I mean, when Deadpool started out, he wasn't a joke. I would say he was an assassin from jump,
but he was always
just forgettable.
But there was always comedic aspects to him. I even remember the first issue that I read him in.
New Mutants.
It was no, and I didn't get a chance to read that one.
I mean,
that was like I'm talking about like the first time I ever read a Deadpool panel. It was in X-Force 2, and he's fighting Kane. And at this point, he's drawn like super serious. He's like super mercenary. Right. And Kane at one point like shoots his hand at him, and it's choking him. And even in that moment, he's just like, it's so gross. Like, he always had comedic timing, I found, with his stuff.
But I feel like that's a Marvel thing. Spidey does that. Spidey will be in the most dangerous of situations and has nothing but quips. Like, that's what we know Spidey for. So I found it weird. I'll say this. I always thought it was weird to me that Deadpool is seen doing that and is not taken seriously. And then every like iteration of Deadpool afterwards went even crazier and crazier with how far he pushes the envelope as that comedic character. But I feel like when he started out, it was more a commentary on like Spider-Man does this. Spider-Man will be fighting Green Goblin and, Normie, really with the underwear this week again? Like he'd say stuff like that. And you're just like, okay, why is that okay? But when Deadpool does it, oh, it's too comedic.
I don't know. When I think of, when people talk about Deadpool, I'm thinking about when he started like New Mutants before it became X-Force. Okay. And like he was super serious. So it was because it's X-Force. It's the 90s. Everyone's got pouches and crazy looking double bladed swords are going up in this way. And
was it Rob Liefeld who was drawing?
Yeah, it was Rob Liefeld was the original creator. So it was before like he really someone else took him and like, okay, let's try something else with this character and kind of streamline how he looks and everything like that. So like I don't remember, like I don't even think he was around that long to be like this, like that we know him as today. But again, it's always someone watched something back in the day and they're like, I like that character, let's do something else with them. So you have Bucky is the same thing, Spider-Gwen is the same thing. Like someone always looked at something from the past and is like, if we flesh this out, it might be a little bit interesting.
Yeah. Like there's an idea here that can grow into something cool. I would say Gwenpool though, not good. I don't know about you guys. I never liked Gwenpool. I thought that was Deadpool himself is already the joke.
Yeah.
So like when you add
that's what I was gonna say.
When you add Gwenpool, it's like, I mean, I guess this is
let me tell you kids. All right. We did Spider-Gwen, right? What about Gwenpool because it's the same image. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, sure.
Yeah.
That's not how that started, though.
I know. I'm just being silly. Like I'm just like, you're the.
It was the fans that clamored for it. She started off as a cover, and then people were like, "Yo, we want more of her."
Exactly.
Like, she's not even a thing. They're like, "Yeah, more."
It's like, fine, it's not gonna be good.
Right.
Yeah, no one said it was gonna be good.
Give me.
That's what it felt like. It feels like whenever you let the people vote, they vote for the silliest thing. And then when you get the silliest thing, they're just like, yeah. And then the title gets canceled. And you're like, well, obviously you guys didn't actually want the silliest thing because you didn't buy this title. Like how many times has she had a title and then gotten canceled?
I don't even know.
Yeah. So
hey, Dave,
I don't know.
We want was it Daniel Bryan? No, but we have a very good what's his name that they were kept pushing? The Rock's cousin. Roman Reigns. Here's Roman Reigns. We don't want Roman Reigns. We want Daniel Bryan. But Roman Reigns, isn't he cool? He's got like this flak jacket thing going on. Isn't he awesome?
He's got these tattoos and all this. He's got such a nice shine to him.
Superman punch. He's like, hey, don't you want him?
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm gonna let you guys go into it. Because obviously you guys have things to say. I didn't watch WrestleMania.
Neither did I. So
no one watched WrestleMania.
I watched it. I will just say this: it was better than the last few years.
Okay, I give it anything.
I am tired of Roman Reigns headlining everything, but to a certain degree, he's obviously earned it. But I just feel like someone else could get the rub other than Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. That's all I'm going to say.
Brock's always there
because it's always the last 3 years. It's been them.
Yeah,
okay, I'm going to chew your ass out, and I'm going to ask you a question. Who then?
Anybody else? It's called putting the
no. Don't give me that.
It's called putting the shine. There's a light, and you could just move the light to
Dave.
Anybody else?
Dave.
Rollins.
Dave. Logically. Rollins. You fucking said Rollins, who managed to. Rollins is the only person that managed to ruin a Hell in a Cell. Seth fucking Rollins, you idiot! Are you kidding me? You're fucking kidding me.
First of all, that wasn't Seth Rollins. That was writers, bro.
Wait, you're talking about?
He openly said that in interviews.
He didn't want to do it. He did it like a bitch. Tell him to shut up. You mean you're gonna go for Monday Night Messiah, the guy who changed his fucking gimmick twice in like 6 months? Seth fucking Rollins. Seth Rollins,
the guy who has some diversity. Yeah.
The guy who has some diversity. The guy didn't have anyone facing him. He didn't know who he was facing until the night of WrestleMania.
A contract. That's
don't
not
mean
shit.
You're bringing up shit. If you're that top tier,
hilarious.
You already have a match for WrestleMania. You already have a storyline. You're not a heel on one show and a face on the next show because they don't know what to do with you. How the fuck are you mentioning
WWE does not know what to do with anybody.
Yeah.
No. Yes.
Yes. That's why they can only do two people for 3 years, bro. That's why.
If they
don't know what they're doing
properly, but your boy Seth Rollins can't be booked properly because they don't know
Roman Reigns. Thank you for acknowledging it.
Let's get Jaws a shot. Jaws, hit us.
Jaws, go because I'm gonna fuck both you up. Like y'all ain't talking wrestling like let's go. Let's go.
Why don't we have this as a regular
Biggie?
Let's go.
Biggie, listen to me. This is Vince McMahon. I run this shit. And I can do whatever the hell I want. I even came out of retirement to get stunned.
Okay.
Oh, that was
terribly. Stunned terribly. But go on.
Well, I'm old. I'm gonna do it anyway. I have too much money.
Go on.
And I'm gonna make the XFL again.
I mean,
so yeah, if Seth Rollins is one thing one day and another thing another week, I don't give a crap.
He's trash though.
And honestly,
he's trash. He's not someone that could have been other than Roman and Brock.
So someone who a match I would have liked to, if you built it properly, if they gave them the time, KO and Sammy for a title that everybody.
KO and Sammy's been done before. Nobody cares about the two Montrealers, my guy.
No, did you not watch the first night?
Nobody cares about the Montrealers. It would have been main
eventing. Based off of the cheers and being in the main event as well.
If they cared, if it made numbers, it would have been booked. Come on, let's go. Give me another one.
Remember how what's his name? Kofi Kingston managed to become the champion.
The fact you call him
Kofi.
Sorry.
I don't want to be like that, bro.
But you know how he became champion?
You can be like that. Yeah.
You remember how, right?
Yeah.
Not through the show. I'm not talking about the show.
By mistake booking because someone got injured. They were supposed to book what's his name?
Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
Mustafa Ali.
Mustafa Ali. Yeah, okay, you can't do that. Yeah, so they're gonna book Mustafa Ali. He got injured, so they put Kofi instead, and then everyone like did that on the Daniel Bryan train. They're like, hey, Kofi, he needs a proper run. Kofi, and they're like, fine, sure, Kofi.
Well, you didn't hear what Kofi said, right?
What Kofi said?
So he talked with Chris Jericho, and he's like, yo, man, like, I've been here for so long. I've been actually putting in some really good work and some good gimmicks and stuff like that. How do I get over with the boss? And he's like,
be black.
No, he said, talk with the boss. And if he gives you a little bit guff, like, stand your ground about it. And he's like, okay. So he talks to McMahon about it. They were on the tarmac somewhere getting off a plane, and McMahon like goes to like shoot like straight up like wrestle him a little bit, and Kofi like stood his ground and then he stood up, and then McMahon was like, all right, let's give it a shot.
What?
That's not. Wait,
that can't be right.
Are you serious?
My man gotta fight the boss.
Hey, check this out.
And
my man
Titus O'Neil's the boss.
Dude, Titus O'Neil did the same thing. Got suspended. Titus O'Neil got suspended for touching Mr. McMahon
on camera. This is not even on camera. That was on camera. He's like, hey, yo, you should let your. And then he.
Brian, you hear the fuck uppery about that?
Hey, man, I have no clue what's happening, but I am loving this conversation because I know every year we have WrestleMania, and every year I'm like, some years I watch it because I'm like, you know what, I should watch it so I can talk with you guys. But I actually like the years where I don't watch it because hearing you argue, I get to be a fan of the show.
And also, I will back up Dave about Seth Rollins. One of my favorite memories about one of the WrestleManias was Seth Rollins versus what's his name? What's his name? The snake guy. Geez, I forgot his name.
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton, right?
Viper.
So Seth Rollins tries to do the stomp. He
had to pop up
and he popped him up completely, and then RKO him. That was amazing.
That's a Randy Orton thing.
I know, but that was amazing. And then also, what was it? One of the WrestleManias.
Oh, I get why you didn't like my comment. It's because you just are one of those people who genuinely hate Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins looks like
I don't like Seth Rollins either. Seth Rollins, you can Seth
Rollins. Listen, Dave, when you've been black enough, you can just
also
people and they just look racist.
Can we just keep it on to wrestling?
I know what could have done WrestleMania.
Wait, wrestling and racism goes 1 and 1. What are you talking about? Wait, hold on.
All I'm bringing is just stuff I remember Seth Rollins doing during WrestleManias that I remember that was actually really cool. So wasn't there another one with
the main topic of who could be better than Roman and Brock in the main event?
Technically, Brock versus Bobby would have been a better main event and properly built, and that would have been a years in the making match.
Now you're
that people have wanted.
Okay, now you're talking. Okay, Skinny has
you gotta give him some time to come up with something. You can't just be like on the spot. Give me this.
He's more of a wrestling fan than me. The nigga's got two belts behind him, and he's talking about Seth Rollins.
Give him time.
Problem for WWE. They don't put their ass on the goddamn elbow.
You got two WWE belts behind you.
Yeah,
and you go.
This is called legacy. This is called Bret Hart right here. If you don't know your history,
wow,
this man's the only thing that's been worth watching for the last 5 years on that product. Since they went 2.0.
Bret Hart was the champ during the worst era of WWE NF, known to everybody. Bret Hart.
I really wish this was
Wait, what's this? Oh no, what's this? Who's coming down? Oh no, it's Proto Man! It's Proto Man's coming down! Oh my goodness!
If Proto Man was here right now,
I don't give a I'm not that Canadian pride about Bret Hart.
It's not even about Canadian pride. Bret Hart did a good job with what he had. And he created good content.
And that's why we fuck with each other, because you understand what I said, that he was champ during the garbage era. So
he made the garbage era decent. But that was all he could do alone.
Can I ask a question? Was the Diesel era ever good?
No.
First month of being champion was entertaining. Then
he lost that to Yoko on some shit. What was that? Was it him that lost it to Yokozuna on some bullshit?
He lost it to Yoko only for
Hogan to take it back within
seconds. Politics to get it back.
Yeah, because he refused to do it to Hogan.
To Hogan. He didn't want to lose directly to Hogan. So
want to lose to Hogan?
Bret Hart refused.
Bret Hart refused
because Hogan was just taking it from everybody at that point. Damn, I do miss Bret Hart. Yeah, I know, Mike, but I had to say what I had to say. All to say is yes.
Hey, remember
you're right about
when Bret Hart wrestled, no one got injured. Remember,
well, people injure Bret Hart.
Remember when was it Bret Hart was had a match against British Bulldog in Wembley Stadium. British Bulldog was billed to win. British Bulldog got completely shit-faced before the match.
He handled him during the match,
and he carried him for. He's like,
listen.
they're wrapped up, and he's like, Bret, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. He's like,
everyone's watching Bret.
Don't worry.
Was British Bulldog actually British?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Davy Boy, right?
Davy Boy Smith.
Because I know a lot of them aren't actually from the places they say.
Yeah,
well, it's
The
like
Rock
Roddy
isn't
Piper.
actually from Miami, but he's built from Miami.
Shit.
Well, Roddy Piper, the Scotsman, was Winnipeg. I think.
He's actually Canadian.
And then who's that? Pat Patterson is from Montreal, but was billed to San Francisco. From what I read today.
Yes, possibly.
It could be. Yeah, everyone's not really billed from. Kofi is from Guyana. No, from Ghana. Excuse me. He's from Ghana.
But
they build him from Jamaica just because he's like, no one's gonna no one in America knows where Ghana is. Like, really,
so
that's
rude.
terrible.
Really can't.
So rude.
So true.
Roman and Brock 3 had to happen because Roman has never actually beaten Brock. And yes, as much as he's the top guy, he's the only top guy right now that can really hold people in their seats and keep them there. Yes, Bobby Lashley, boring, my G. That's why Bobby
boring, but that would have been a good one.
No. Bobby Lashley can't speak on the mic. He's that.
Oh yeah,
he's like Ricochet. Ricochet is an amazing wrestler, cannot talk, and that's where it's going to get.
Not as bad as Amazing Red. Not a WWE.
Yeah. True. But like the trajectory of Bobby Lashley. What?
There's no more managers.
I'll get to the managers. So the trajectory of Bobby Lashley.
I also have a question about Rhodes being back.
Sure, no problem. Bobby Lashley moved up very quickly because MVP literally said, listen, I'm going to come back. I'm only supposed to come back for Royal Rumble. I'm going to come back to do this for this year, which is build up this guy, build up Hurt Business, and then y'all going to take them niggas and run. What they did was they built up Bobby, said, this is enough black people at the top, broke up Hurt Business right at their peak. Literally, like, Bobby became champ the week after they break up Hurt Business, and then Bobby's bringing down Hose to the ring instead of his team. Weird. Bobby loses the title. He's heel/face, reforms Hurt Business, then loses the title in a match that he didn't. I don't even know how he didn't get pinned, but he just loses the title. Big E is the champ. He doesn't get the championship. My man's out with a shoulder injury, comes back like John Cena, super fast, neck injury, comes back way too fast, then wins against Omos. Omos, who was a tag team partner of AJ Styles for like 6 months to a year, not an actual wrestler, more or less just your big black enforcer as they do in WWE. And here we are.
Yeah, that Omos guy is useless. I'm sorry. That guy is almost as bad as Great Khali.
But he's almost as useless as Bobby because Bobby's facing him now.
Yeah, but
how old is that?
Khali's
like a good
2000.
comparison. To be honest, it's a very fair comparison to compare to what they can do in the ring so far.
Not much.
The guy has time
They're
to.
Tall.
He's young. Like he has time to improve, but like
he's young.
He looks young. He looks less than 30. If you're less than 30, you have plenty of time in wrestling.
Because I feel don't wrestlers usually age out around mid-30s?
Some of them are pushing 40 now.
The legends stay because they're popular, but not because they physically can still do.
Well, I mean, AJ Styles and Edge are above the 45 mark.
Randy Orton's like a 42.
But are they still doing the same level of wrestling as the younger? Oh yeah, okay.
Edge
but the reason is
injury.
They have to, because to further on my other point is that WWE ain't got nobody.
Yeah, it's WWE's fault, and I could give a perfect.
I'm not saying whose fault it is. I'm just saying they ain't got nobody.
When
that's why they gotta do what they gotta do. What were you gonna say real quick?
Yeah, sorry.
No, I was actually gonna agree with Skinny in the sense that that's supposed to be where the top is, but then they had so much people, and then when AEW happened, they're like, well, let's leave because we're not getting the time. We're not getting the storylines. Everything's really weak or just really silly, or we have our own ideas. We've built ourselves up from the indies and we know what we're doing, but they just think that it's not going to translate or whatever. And then they also got rid of NXT, right?
Well, they didn't get rid of NXT,
there, but it's just now more.
They
WWE.
rebranded it, and it's really like it's Raw and SmackDown Light, as opposed to being like
NXT,
an actual alternative. Because that's what made NXT interesting, right? Like you are watching a WWE product. There's a chance that you might have other people from the main roster come and be on the show or them go on those shows, but it was really its own niche.
Right.
So it's like, it's kind of shitty. But WWE, their problem is that they have someone out for over a year. And what do? So this guy Elias, he's like, his old shtick was long hair, big beard, completely hairy, comes out sick on the microphone, all this stuff. He gets injured and he's out for almost a year. And you know what their gimmick for him is? He comes out to a different set of music. He's just basically shaven from here down, completely shaven, and now barely speaks on the mic.
Under your nose,
like under my nose, because he used to have like, let's say, chest hair and all that stuff. Like he's all the way, you know what I mean? And he comes out and he's like, I'm Elias's younger brother, Ezekiel. You couldn't even give a different name that didn't start with an E? Like, seriously? How fucking lazy
Wait, is that what they did?
I'm not joking. Even the wrestler himself
that's showing that they don't care about him.
But that's the thing. The wrestler himself, he was against Kevin Owens, the Montrealer, and he's like, dude, you're Elias. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm like,
that's disrespectful.
You're Elias. I know those eyes. Like, I'm not. No one here is crazy. And he's like, no. And you're like, and it's a shame because that guy had a pretty good gimmick and basically injuries took him away from what he was going like this, and then an injury, unfortunately, it's hard to keep some types of gimmicks going if you take a pause.
Right.
The guy sang and played a guitar. He was a traveling man. The guy
he was a new age honky tonk man, but not like
Before I forget, because you guys talked about people moving from AEW to WWE, why did Rhodes jump ship at AEW and come back to WWE after all those years? Other than money, Dave, because I feel like that seems like an easy.
Can I hit this first, Dave? Do you mind? All right. So the great exile of everyone from WWE. WWE had so much extra. AEW is like, man, we're gonna yam all your food, so we're gonna snatch this one. Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, we're gonna snatch. All right, but then the people that they had started suffering, and then people in AEW stopped really messing with Cody Rhodes and his whole American Nightmare thing. They weren't really messing with him. Also, he had this weird stipulation where he couldn't wrestle for the main title.
What?
Like, he could only compete for the TNT title and not the main AEW title. I don't know where that came from. I wasn't watching, but he had that stipulation where he, as Cody Rhodes, could not compete for the main AEW title, which is wild considering you helped co-found this place. Anyway,
I was gonna ask, isn't he?
I guess I could explain that, or I could give clarity. Clarity to that is that he made up a rule. So when him and Chris Jericho, which was like one of the first feuds for the title, it was basically Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. Then it was Cody Rhodes fighting for the title, and they had a few altercations that eventually, like, the way to like dupe Jericho and trying to like give him another shot was saying like, I'm never gonna go for the title again. However, that was like within the first, let's say, 6 months of the company being like formed. So I think it was initially a tactic to be like, look, like, we're not trying to put favoritism to our VPs, and it was a logical way to be like, we could have Cody do stuff now and not go for the title. And it's not like, why are you not doing it? I think the issue with it long term was they never had a backup plan to like alleviate that rule.
Yeah.
You know, because I think by doing that long term wise, it hindered what probably Cody would be able or wanted to do. Now, again, another aspect to this, and it's what he said on Raw, and it more likely is probably a big reason. So Dusty Rhodes, as everyone knows, it's his dad, and infamous amongst the wrestling world as, an important figure.
Yes.
He never officially won a title. He won a match where he was fighting for the title in a 10-second count. 10-second count, since you have champion's advantage, you do not get the world title. It doesn't transfer over because you didn't actually beat him.
Yeah, if you beat people and count out, it doesn't count.
It doesn't count. You win the match. It gets credited as you win the match, but the champion gets to walk away with champion type thing. So what he was saying and I knew this story actually. He said not a lot of people know it on Raw, but I knew it because I'm that type of wrestling nerd. But he basically said, he's like, I couldn't, like, initially when I started in this company, it was for me to win the title so I could give it to my dad.
Right.
Now I can't. Now I can't do it, and now and I want to do it for like like he's doing it more for family. Like, our heritage deserves to have this title. And like, to be honest, the one thing I will give Cody Rhodes, even though I do find him sometimes to be very let's say egotistical or narcissistic, That comes through as his characters, because that's how his characters are. But like,
right.
you see him on his like reality show, and they've said it. Like his wife has said it on the show once. He's like a bit of a narcissist, but this is like a pretty dope ass all around story considering his career. Like if this were to happen, I think if he were to win the title and when whatever that title run is over, that's basically retirement for him. He doesn't need to do anything else.
Where's Goldust?
Goldust is over there.
He's still in
AEW. Okay.
Yeah.
But he can't really do anything else. Now, my other reasoning as to why he left is they poached everybody, but they got 2 shows, Dynamite and Rampage.
And the internet showed Dark.
Oh, yeah, and Dark, AEW Dark, right? Everybody that they poached, everybody, including Andrade, including Aleister Black, including whatever. Most of these niggas, you're finding them on the B show. So Big Show was all like, man, fuck WWE. I ain't going back. Them niggas suck. Blah, blah, blah. Just last week, I saw Paul White on AEW Dark, which is like the show that they don't even broadcast. It's the Internet Dark Match show. It's like the YouTube show. So it's kind of like Cody was just like, this shit's getting flooded like WWE because these people are just throwing money at strippers, ones. So I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go over here for this big old paycheck because all the money that they gain from dropping all these losers, they're going to go throw it at me because I went and did this and built that, which is their only competition they've seen in the past 25 years.
Oh, interesting.
I did that.
So it's like if you clear your budget because so many people left, you can now pay those who are there or try and poach back some people by offering them a bigger
poach
bag.
The Bigum, the guy who basically started it. He went out and said, hey, we're going to do all in. This is going to be an independently run pay-per-view. We're going to break the whole internet. And that's my CV. Hi WWE. You want me to come back? Okay, cool.
But I think the only your analogy is correct. Other than I wouldn't say all these losers. I do think that there are some people that they took that I was surprised that they took from WWE. But like example, you can't call Moxley a loser. Daniel Bryan is not a loser. Like,
but Mox left before the great like the pillage. Like Mox bounced on his own and said, "I'm out." Versus everyone who did it because it was a cool thing to do.
There's that circle of people. The example, Aleister Black, I wouldn't consider in that category, but he was left around that time.
He did leave around that time. No, okay, so I wouldn't consider Aleister Black, but Buddy friggin' Murphy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but again, some people could be used by. Sorry, this will differ, and I'm not going to go on this. This will be like a really hardcore tangent, but just for me, it's just that there's also some people that WWE either can't or won't use because they don't know what to do with them, or because of some stupid small criteria, they won't push them up. Like Buddy, I don't know, because if you ask me, Buddy was good on the mic and he was a great wrestler. So the only thing I could imagine was size.
True, but then you see him over there where he has all the creative advantage, and he's still in the group who's led by Aleister Black.
Yeah, but I agree, but like not everyone can. Sorry, go on, Brian.
Real quick. Is this similar to what happened with the WCW, WWE back in the day?
110%.
And do you think that WWE? Well, I'll ask that as the first question, and then the second half of the question is: do you think the AEW will manage this situation better than WCW did?
I hope so.
I believe so because I think. Sorry, you know what, Jaws? Do you go first?
I was going to say with the first part of the question, I don't think it's 100% the same way because with WCW, they were getting all. Like, I guess more the legacy people were jumping ship and just like, yo, I want to wrestle, but Vince doesn't want me to wrestle because he wants to focus on the new generation. Yeah, that's jumping ship. So I would say it's not 100%. This is more like the people that aren't getting screen time, the people that aren't getting a chance to wrestle. Oh, you bought out my contract from this indie thing, but I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here doing nothing. So I think it would be more like it's the other way around of what's going on.
I see it as like Vince is more or less okay. A lot of the independent guys that Vince did get, Aleister Black, the Andrades, the Daniel Bryansons, and so on, Brian Danielson, so on. All right, he was like, okay, like the internet says y'all can float and you could swim. I'm your floaty. Like no matter what, you're floating because of me. I'm your floaty. But you guys feel like you can swim without your own? Fine, I'm gonna take away your floaties. You go to EW. Let's see if you can swim. Bryan Danielson can swim. CM Punk can swim. Adam Cole can swim. Andrade cannot swim.
Not on American TV.
Andrade cannot swim. Buddy Murphy cannot swim. See what I'm like? Paul White, he's older, but like the Guns cannot swim. No. You know what I mean? Like it's just like the Hardy, Matt Hardy cannot swim. He can, but like
He can, but he's not on the right gimmick.
My man can't do the breaststroke too well. It's like, I get it. You see how you do without the big machine floating you. And that's AEW, they're where they're at now. And you see, even with the writing, the creative
Matt
team,
Hardy the one that did the delete thing in TNA?
That's why I'm saying that, like, he needs the right gimmick, and the gimmick that you actually just brought up. He openly basically said, "I can't do this without a crowd." So for the last, since the pandemic happened, like, you could see him like going for it, and like right the week before, it's like, oh, it's COVID, and now we're not in front of people, and well, I got to figure out something else. Like, he's like picking up your bags and literally walking home.
Yeah, so that's usually the third player in wrestling is the crowd. You're playing to a crowd, just like how a comedian needs to play to a crowd.
Right.
You know.
But then the even bigger thing too is that, and as Lee J brings this up, shouts to Lee J, Tony Khan, the owner of AEW, turned around and bought Ring of Honor. So now he's running two federations within one, kind of somehow.
He owns. So this is where I want to answer Brian's second question.
Go on.
Why I believe it will not be the same as WCW. So first of all,
for those who don't know, WCW, well, I imagine everyone who's listening knows this, but WCW was a competitor for WWE way back in the day. It was owned by Turner.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then got bought out by WWE.
Yeah.
So, because they didn't have the ratings anymore.
Yeah. They didn't know how. Basically what it was is that WCW was a company that a person saw there was a business for being Turner, but the second he bought his toy, unlike Vince McMahon, who plays in his sandcastle all the time, the second he bought it, he just put that car in the garage.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he let other people run it.
Like, he let it other people, and he didn't, and it wasn't smart people. Like, to a certain degree they were, to a certain degree they weren't.
I think for a little while it was beating out WWE in ratings, but then at some point it dipped. So I mean, they were doing something right at some point and getting people to watch and sniping people and telling people, oh, these are the people that win on the next match. Don't bother watching. Like, they would literally ruin Raw for you or whatever. Or
whereas Tony Khan being like the new Ted Turner in this AEW scenario, first of all, he's a sports, he has sports entertainment already kind of on him, and the fact that his dad owns, I believe, a football team and a soccer team already. Okay. So he already understands like those types of stats and demographics and stuff to a certain degree. He was already a huge wrestling fan to begin with. And like, people would, like, a lot of people who've gone on air to talk about like wrestlers and people of influence in the wrestling community, they all say the same thing. They're like, he's not dumb when he's not a fanboy. He's like, he knows what he's talking about. Obviously, he has to be corrected for some things because he's new to the business. He's learning it. But like, he's smart. Plus, his dad, like, he comes from a strong business background. So I think between coming from a strong business background, that background also being sports in general, and being a fan, and like, he's doing smart things. Like, example, him buying ROH, which is a completely separate wrestling federation. Yeah. Okay. They're gonna use, like, with what's been described so far, it's not so much running two as much as like it's like having what's a subsidiary of Coke? Like, you have Coke and you have, like, let's say a Sprite or whatever. Yeah. Right? You have brands underneath one name, and that's what it's on paper. It's not going to be like that, but how it sounds like it's going to be ran, it is going to be like that, because already, for example, you have some people who are on the ROH roster that are competing on or appearing on AEW as the same characters. So it's almost like having like a Raw, like, you have your Raw and you have your NXT. Well, that's what I was going to ask, because it sounds like if he bought this out and he's having people cross over, the only thing is, based on what you're saying, people from ROH people from AEW aren't going to go down to ROH. Possibly. Oh, really? They've already hinted that it could happen, but I think one thing that they're doing is, because I thought one was more like the minor league version, like considered minor league. Kind of, not by, I wouldn't say that much of a margin. I'd say more because of a TV deal. That's the case. But for this, it's more like, I think they need to see where all the dust settles still with contracts. Because I know that he signed it in buying them, and I know for a fact that's the video library and all this type of stuff. But like, example, now I have two sets of admin people? Do I need 2 sets? Like they're gonna have to deal with all that type of stuff. And like who do we let go from a contract? Who wants to come back?
That's happening over at Warner Discovery right now. Funny enough that you say that.
Yeah.
For those of you who like this side of things, Discovery and Warner are merging, and I think some 11 executives over at Warner have been let go or have stepped down in the last like 2 days.
Wow.
Damn.
But yeah, and the guy who announced that the Batman was going to release on April 19th in a podcast has stepped down, and he's still to this day the only source who has confirmed the release date of the Batman and digital. So I'm still wondering if he's gone, if they have to hold to that, because he doesn't even work there. So what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna air out all your shit before I leave.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell people, yeah, it's coming out on the 45 days after it drops. Cool. You're leaving, so we don't have to follow anything you just said. So I'm still waiting to hear about that. But anyways,
that's funny. That's super funny.
But guys, okay, so that was the wrestling. I that was like 35. I love that.
I know, and we got
like, yeah, you guys are like, we're not going to talk about it. I knew once I brought it up, it was 30. And I like it. I think it's great when you guys talk wrestling because you guys genuinely are interested and fans of it. And Dave, you're perfectly right. If you guys want to start a wrestling talk show, I would say go ahead, because I heard you say, why don't we talk about this all the time? I don't know that this show is the perfect show to do a weekly wrestling because I don't watch wrestling, but you three do. So I would
also say look up on YouTube. Chris Jericho talks the day Kofi Kingston fought Vince McMahon and more. What was it? Jericho discusses the day Kofi Kingston and Vince McMahon got into a physical confrontation on a WWE corporate jet.
Yeah, I gotta tap your brain about that, because it's like, okay, it's okay to touch him off camera.
Yeah,
you can't touch him on camera because then
it makes him look weak. You know, he's supposed to look strong.
He doesn't even like sneezing. He finds it.
I'm not.
Yeah, he's a weirdo.
That old man is not
what?
weird. No, we're not.
Okay,
don't
be honest.
You're right. Anything that is like sneezing.
It's all right.
Halo. It only looks strong.
I watch Halo.
That's where we're doing that. Okay.
So how is Halo without any context of playing none of the games?
Exactly.
Yeah, right? Same here.
I've never played the game. The only thing I find funny is that Cortana is this main character, and every time I look at my computer, I'm like, the operating system,
the annoying search engine.
That's what it's based off of.
I know, it's just weird to me because now it's the exact same
voice. I think it's the exact same voice actress too.
It's just weird. It's such a weird thing to see. Like, hey, we're gonna do this thing, and now that we're making a TV show, we don't want to change the names, so we're gonna use the name Cortana, which just makes it...
that's a character from the video game. That's a very important. So they would. Why would they? They wouldn't.
I know, it's just weird because anyone who doesn't play the video game doesn't associate Cortana to that. So I get it. I 100% understand. I'm just saying from my perspective, it's weird to hear them constantly be like, Cortana, the importance of Cortana. Cortana's going to change everything. And I'm like looking at my computer like, are you? You're not doing anything for me now. You barely find the files I need.
Yeah, damn, this whole time I've been worried about Skynet.
Yeah, exactly. It's this kind of weird mind fuck where you're like, hey man, what do you guys keep saying Cortana like that?
It's really weird. Stop saying that.
I've watched the first episode. I watched the first 2 episodes. First episode's pretty decent, a little slow, but great final act. Second episode, I didn't find it interesting until Bokeem Woodbine showed up.
Oh shit!
And he has his white voice on, which is hilarious. We all know what I'm talking about because you guys have seen
Code Switching.
Yeah,
they did a whole song on Big Mouth.
Right, like when you watch him in like black films, he's kind of like he has that swagger, like I know exactly what you're, and then like you're like, okay, that's Bokeem Woodbine. And then on this one, he's talking like this highfalutin, like it's just like, hey, I think you really need to fly. I'm like, oh, what is this? Please stop! You're doing it's so weird. But yeah, man, it's funny. So. I mean, check it out. It's a new show. It's relative. Paramount Plus is really trying because they have to be competitive. They're not really, in my opinion, holding it down. They haven't found their niche yet. Is the problem?
We got Star Wars.
No, that's not Paramount.
I mean,
that's
Star
Disney.
Trek. Sorry, Star Trek.
Yeah,
Star Trek. Loads and loads of Star Trek. Come
Right.
on.
And they have the new one coming with the reboot of the Pike. Chris Pike is the captain and all that stuff. I get that, but that can't be their only thing. Like, they broke their deal with Netflix specifically because they're like, shit, without Star Trek, we don't have anything on our platform right now. We really need to figure this out. And that's it. They have Halo, and you're like, okay, let's see. And then you have like 4 Star Trek shows, and it's like, okay, what else do you guys have?
I thought they would have gone with like Transformers or something, because they do all the movies for Transformers.
Well,
I thought they would have gone that route, but
I was talking to Protoman about that a couple weeks ago, because Protoman was telling me how there were announcements of a new show, and I told him 100% that show's going to go to Paramount. Paramount needs the content; it will definitely go. And then like an hour later, he sent me the link, being like, "You were right," and I was like, "Yeah, man. When it comes to this stuff, this is where I'm in my element. Like, I know, I can tell you right now, this Discovery Warner deal is going to have weird ramifications. They're going to be merging their 2 streaming platforms at one point. So you're going to end up with this platform that they tried to really specifically curate with HBO Max, where the idea was kind of like, we want to do a pseudo Netflix thing where we want people to get stuck on the platform because there's too many options to watch. But at the same time, we're going to work at giving you quality content, because Netflix doesn't care about the quality. Netflix is just putting any old piece of crap on the screen.
Yeah, they're looking at their algorithms and seeing what's popular, and then smashing that together, and hopefully they make the money off of that.
HBO Max isn't about that. HBO Max is just like, we're going to do quality over quantity, but we're also going to have a lot of quantity. But now with Discovery joining them, you're also going to have like 90 Day Fiance on there. And that, to me, if I was HBO Max, I would be like, keep them separate. Do a bundle deal, but don't ever merge these 2 into one platform, because I wouldn't want Euphoria and all these other shows that I've worked so hard to create to be seen next to reality TV, 90 Day Fiance, 600-pound wife. Like, no, man, that's not my scene. I don't want to be.
But you know, those pay the bills, though, right? That's why. That's why A&E, TLC just became that. All the learning channels and history just literally
messed up how that happened, man. Like, we watched their influx.
Cheap to make.
We watched their influx, and we just watched them go down. Like, literally, what happened to the learning channel?
Yeah, they all turned into
learning. And learning doesn't pay the bills.
And they all have. They already have their own streaming app for all those shows. They have Hey You, which is like just reality TV shows, and I don't know why. Anyways, so that's what's going on there. Paramount Plus really needs to step it up. Halo.
I thought they would have done more Fast and the Furious stuff. Isn't that them? Fast and Furious is them too.
It depends on who's licensing the stuff out, because everyone didn't know they wanted to make that content a couple years ago, and stupidly signed huge deals with Netflix because they still have Fast and Furious cartoon.
I mean, I know you're saying stupidly, but we already know these people don't look 5-10 years ahead. We already know that. It took so long for Kevin Feige to finally do what he's doing, and even when he started doing it, Marvel Entertainment was blocking him, and then Disney was like, Marvel Entertainment, you over here. All right, Kevin Feige, you do your thing. And
man, they did get rid of them quickly.
I think the closest thing we had with that was like maybe DC in the comic books, were like, here's your Star Wars. Here's your Bible. You're not allowed to do this, or this. You can go in this direction. There you go. Like barely.
But I mean,
super new territory for
Disney
everybody.
Plus was always going to have a solid direction with what they're doing. I think the only flub that Disney Plus did was the international attempt, like the international creation of Star as this thing that's part of their package outside of the United States, and then inside the States you have to bundle Hulu to get half the content, and then pitching yourselves as clean family content in the States. But in Canada, I have Pam and Tommy ads running on Disney Plus. Like, you know what I mean?
The first sex tape ever, the first famous sex tape ever, running on Disney Plus. Mommy, what's that?
Exactly.
Who's Tommy Pam?
You wouldn't watch that, and then the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs afterwards.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it didn't even make sense that they did this. Like, it's such a weird thing to be like, oh well, internationally we're going to want to put out this content, so we're going to create Star, and we're going to put all that content there, but then everyone is going to hear us talking about that stuff. Like ads. I see ads online promoting Pam and Tommy on Disney Plus, and then I'm in a Disney Plus group on Facebook. And when they introduced the new mature rating information, because they added all the original Netflix Marvel shows and all that stuff, and Moon Knight's going to be a little bit more mature, there's more fighting and stuff like that. People are losing their minds because they're just like, I don't want to have to put in a code when my kid watches this. Like, homie, calm down.
Be a better parent. Do better.
But I also heard Disney Plus is editing a bunch of stuff too.
Yeah, they did that for
that. I don't like
Soldier. They went back though. They changed it back.
They go and change it back. Yeah.
Okay. Like for me, like
it's weird that they did that in the first place. Though.
Yeah, they should have just parental controls. And if anything, if Marvel's that racy to people, then you should make it on Hulu or something. I don't know. Like,
well, separate it. Yeah.
So
I agree.
It should just be okay. It's rated M. Kids can't see it. Done.
Right.
Move on. Like,
that
why
was
you have to put in a code all the time? I don't understand.
That was it.
I could easily find another fumble, and this is to go quickly into. Well, I'm not going to get to Atlanta this week because we don't have time. But I will say, wow, okay, I like Moon Knight, but episode 2, don't ever do that again.
That's what I said. That's what we said at the top.
Ever do that again, and that's it. Thanks. Like that's it. If it's the same thing of what we're talking about. I get it for story and I get it for budget, but you guys decided to cheap out at a spot where you probably shouldn't have cheaped out.
Oh, interesting. Wait, what are you talking about specifically?
I don't want to see my dude fighting nothing. That looked.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's
but that was the level set that it was only him, bro.
Nope, dumb.
You know what?
Spend the money. You're Disney. Just show. I don't care. I want to see a demon dog. I want people screaming. Don't give me that. Oh, only you can see him. No, don't do that.
Yeah, like
people want you to watch the next episode.
People on the bus being like, is he mentally ill? Oh no, he's just a well-dressed drunk. I was like, ooh, that's a weird line.
No, we know he's mentally ill. We can easily show that we know there's mental anguish there, sure. But I want people to know that this dude in the suit who just lunged a punch at something and said, Wagwan!
Yeah, that was
legit hit something. That was episode.
Funny.
Out of all the Disney Plus shows, and everyone has talked their mess, and everyone said something about Falcon Winter Soldier. That was the worst episode 2 I've ever seen on a Disney show.
Okay,
that's nuts.
That actually pulled me out, and I love Moon Knight, and that pulled me out.
I told Dave similar thing that I didn't like that episode for specific reasons.
I wouldn't compare it to the worst episode.
I wouldn't say it was the worst, but I agree. I wasn't impressed with it.
I enjoyed it.
Anyways,
personally.
So that's what
Wendell,
I'll say about that.
Hot Ones, Pusha T. Can you give us a 5-minute hit on that one?
All right. So I thought it was a really good episode. Really good questions. Evan did not get he didn't get into the beef between him and Jake, but he asked him like, hey, what about the ramifications that happens after that?
Oh, interesting.
And Pusha T actually said something really interesting where he said, getting into beefs with someone and then whoever comes out after the dust settles, it doesn't end careers anymore. People are just like, oh, he took a punch to the chin, but we'll listen to his album when it comes out later. Like he's like back in the day, it would like cannabis, like
Ja Rule and 50.
Look
at MGK.
And he had to switch genres.
He had to leave. But he also blew up bigger than he ever was. So that's kind of a
he pivoted well.
Yeah, so
pivoted right into Megan Fox. I mean, that's pretty wild.
And then he said something really interesting where he said now the labels get involved, and then the labels come in and say, "Hey, don't stop messing with my artists. Like stop that. Like stop messing with my artists." So I was like, "Ooh." Cool. So he kind of pulled back the curtain a bit about it, but didn't pull it back completely. So I thought that was pretty
They're
cool.
both on Universal too. So I thought when that beef was going on, if anything, Universal was probably going to be like, hey, we're making money. But I do see that if both the tracks they made weren't actually sold, they were just leaks, then that's a problem. So
that scary kid's dad got involved, and that's why everything got resolved. Same thing with Drake and Kanye.
Prince?
Yeah, Jay Prince. That man is scary. Scary.
Yeah, I just came in, I told everybody to stop, and they stopped. It's like
it's true. Like I mean, I'm not gonna say anything bad about Jay Prince because who knows when or what he's listening.
He's a saint. Love him.
But
you're gonna tell me you're gonna tell me you're sneak dissing and beefing for 10 years, and Jay Prince comes in and does this, and then all of a sudden next week you have a joint concert together.
Yeah.
Well, and then I think also the sad part about the Hot Ones is that Pusha T did not complete it.
Oh, really?
He did not. Yeah, he got to the bomb, which is the one that everyone gets messed up at.
Yeah.
That's like the third to last one.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't." And he stopped. And it was really sad. And he's like, and then Evan was like, "Yo, some people are gonna be really sad about it." He's like, "I don't care."
Yo, I can't even think of the last time I saw someone not complete it. Like I watched the Leslie
Natalie Portman bitched out.
They actually have not a list, but they showed you the page. Like they showed you images of everybody that, and then they're like added Pusha T. So it's like Jim Gaffigan, DJ Khaled. There was quite a few people that
Khaled
just didn't.
Week anyways. I could have told you Khaled wouldn't have gotten through the first two.
But Khaled was bad because he was like, "We'll say I didn't finish, but I finished." And he's like, "No, that's not how this works, DJ Khaled. You didn't finish."
No, that's not.
Around. And then with Pusha T, he was like, "I don't care. I don't care what anyone says."
Yeah.
And I was like, I felt me and my girl felt so bad. We're like, no, like you just have two more to push through. And he's like,
"Yeah, I honestly, I gotta say though, I'm shocked. Like when Leslie Mann finished, like when Leslie Mann started,
that was recent. Yeah, that was the most.
Yeah, the last one. When she started, she said to him, "Maybe I should be the host," because she was just going through them and like not even reacting. And she was like making fun of Evan, even though Evan wasn't reacting either. She was making fun of Evan as if he couldn't handle it. And I feel
like Evan tries to match the energy of the person he's with. And then also, I think I was watching the Paul Rudd one, and when he was with Paul Rudd, he was like, for a good while, he was good. Like he was just like, no problem. But he's like, now he's like, oh crap, I have to like build up again. So maybe because of the pandemic, and he stopped for a while.
Oh yes. I remember that one.
But I know that Paul Rudd, and it seems like they were really close. Now they kind of sit like two tables apart. So I could be completely wrong. But I feel like maybe Evan lost a little bit and he has to kind of build back up. But it's always the bomb. And I think he explained to him, this one is always the worst one. And after that, it's pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah.
But it's just like the bomb kind of lingers. It kind of messes with you a little bit. But they finished the interview.
The other two are spicier than the bomb, but the bomb triggers like this reaction that
the bomb is battery acid. Yeah. It's not a fun heat. It's like it's hot for no reason and it tastes terrible, but it's not like, oh, it is a nice hot. It's like battery acid, and then after that you're good.
Guys pour intestines.
There's some like I think they said there's some people that had it and then they're like, oh, okay, cool, that was fun. Where's your bathroom? And I think Chrissy Teigen had to go to the hospital.
Oh my god.
So she completed it and it was all good. And then it was like, hey, I'm just in the hospital. What? You okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, just my intestines. Just poo. That's all.
Yeah, I feel bad for you.
We got to get to Geek News and Rumors right before we sign off.
Tell me our boy Ezra Miller's in there.
Yes.
Yeah. He's the only bit of news.
Ezra Miller is the only thing we have in the news because that jackass is killing the DCEU. I also didn't know that Ezra Miller went as they, so
he does
because because most of us did not know that. There's a chance we might slip up. We are going to do our best.
Yes.
We're just announcing that now because, like Skinny just said, this is the first time he's ever heard that. So.
So he's
it takes a moment for people to reassociate.
Well, they's a bitch.
Wow.
Wow. He's a
get him.
Crap.
Get him. Yo, they announced Days movie in 2014. Can we really clarify this?
Yeah.
Is that really how long ago they
announced? And you know whose fault that is being pushed back?
This
fucker. Oh, sorry. Wait, no, I said it right?
Yeah, you did.
Fucker? Which one do you want me? I don't care.
No, they works. We're getting insensitive now.
I'll say this. I think, if anything, Ezra aside, I'm actually really happy that this is happening because I wanted the DCEU to fail and fall to the wayside.
Grant Gustin's like, really, guys?
I kind of wanted to see how this movie played out first.
Well, the movie's still going to get released, but they're not going to move forward with any of the DCEU as any project that they were a part of is being reevaluated because they're concerned what it means for this actor to be a part of the project. So either if they do this Flashpoint, if the Flashpoint was supposed to connect things, if they don't kill Barry in the movie, which I think at this point, just kill Barry in the movie so you can separate the movie from the character.
Oh man, they're gonna Wally West him.
Yeah, just give us Wally West.
Just little Wally West.
Just bring Wally.
Just bring Wally.
So imagine,
frankly, good.
You've been attached to your movie for 8 years. Your movie finally comes out, only for you to get killed off.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping
he's an idiot.
Well, wasn't there also something with Fantastic Beasts? There was also like Johnny Depp and his whole thing, but then also they was a part of that movie too. Ezra Miller was also part of that movie as well, and there's some stuff here and there.
Stop using they as if it's be proper. Like,
I ran with these two.
Dave's doing it to be a jackass. Like, it's obvious he's doing it to be a jackass.
I don't like him. I like him. All right,
I've received new information, and I'm trying to use it properly.
No, Jaws, it wasn't a judgment on you.
Okay,
I'm talking directly to Dave. I was trying to be nice and not calling Dave out by name, but Dave was being an asshole. So Dave, stop being an asshole. All this to say, Ezra Miller is the actual asshole. That's where we stand on this. You're fucking it up for everybody. A whole new generation of DCEU films were potentially going to get made, even though no one wanted them, and you came along and messed it up for a whole lot of people.
Messing up the bag.
You keep getting drunk. I don't even know what you're doing while you keep assaulting people. What's wrong with you? That's the weird part.
Hey, didn't I tell you? I told you about his movie. There's something about Kevin. I mentioned this. And there's something. I told y'all.
I didn't even know that was that person. Wow.
He's in that movie, and if you can be in that movie, there's something wrong with you, boy.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe people are just constantly messing with them, and they're just reacting to it. I mean, people constantly go to Hawaii and just get into fights and drunk drivers. Like, look at what's her name, Michelle Rodriguez.
Oh, true. Yeah, got booted off her show because she
booted off drunk. Lost because she got drunk and drove, and they caught her and they're like, "Yo, stop it!" And they just kicked her off.
I hardly doubt people are walking up to Ezra Miller and being like, "So when's it coming out?"
No one's walking up. People are scared of him, bro. He walks down the street and people walk across the street.
Yeah, because that first assault at the whatever concert was already problematic, and then get arrested in Hawaii, it's just like
Hawaii's small, man. Everybody knows. Watch out for the dude over there.
I was just gonna say all that to say. Thanks for ruining the DCEU. May it burn in hell, and that's it. What about I didn't want it. I didn't think it was a good idea.
I like Flash. I don't like him. I like Flash.
But that's what I'm saying. We never liked them as Flash. So
wasn't the Barry Allen he was playing was basically Wally West, or at least that's what they kind of did.
All this to say, I don't want them playing the role anymore. I barely want Black Adam from The Rock. So you're already giving me movies I don't want. You know, DC, you haven't given me a movie I've wanted in years. Is essentially the thing. I didn't want Batman. I liked it, but I didn't want it.
What about Shazam?
Didn't watch that.
I didn't.
Please, no.
I'm leaving. You weren't there for that. I remember that episode. That episode was long. No, we can't do that.
Look at episode 2, 1, whatever.
Hey, look, Umbrella Academy. Ellen Page's character is now changing their gender too.
I don't want to talk about that because people always get annoyed with me. So whatever.
Oh, okay. I just feel like it doesn't need to be announced, like it was announced. Okay,
no,
we're done.
For me, I'll say this because people seem to get it twisted. I don't want characters to be race bent. I don't want characters to be gender bent, and I don't want characters to be orientation bent. I don't think we need to do that for characters, and I think that no actor should be bigger than the role they're playing. If Elliot Page did not want to continue to play the character as a woman, Elliot should have stepped down and let someone else take the role because the character is a woman and the character does not need to be gender bent. And then people are going to be like, representation. Here's my thing about representation since day one. You're not representing if you're bending characters who in the comic books aren't that race or gender or orientation.
Let them know
you're bigger than that.
That's called lying.
It's not lying, Dave. It's
gender bending and whatnot is lying.
Dave, that's not the point I'm trying to make. Stop trying to help. You're making it worse.
He said that. Because they should have real characters that they just
but you're not wording it properly. It's not lying. It's ruining a character. It's not the same thing. I don't consider it lying. I consider it taking away from the character. Yeah, they should have recasted. That's my whole point.
Maybe there's a contract thing.
But Elliot knew.
And if they break the contract, then it's like, oh great, we got to pay her out her contract.
You signed this as Ellen, not Elliot. Sorry.
But
that's
at the
cold,
end of the day, when it's all said and done,
if they did that would make them look way bad.
Elliot knew that the character is a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Elliot knew that's what the character was. You went in there knowing that. I don't think that any actor is bigger than their character. And that's my point. If your personal life is these decisions, by all means, live your best life. But I don't think characters on the TV shows and the movies should start changing because you've decided that, or not even decided, you've finally realized who you truly are and are happy that way. By all means, but the characters aren't going through that. You're going through that. And that's where I keep standing. I
wonder if they're gonna do something where her character, like, through something in the show, it ends up changing, and
the character is changed. The character is now trans and identifies as a man.
No, but I'm saying, like, I wonder if they're gonna write it where, oh, this character was trans the whole time, or it's like, oh no, some spell happens to that character, and now.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, how would they play it out? And then in that sense, they're just like, we're not gonna bring up that you're different. You're still. It's like, I'm still the same person. Like, could you like not bring this really annoying?
Well, I think they're changing the character's name.
Going.
With them changing time, and because that's what essentially happens in Umbrella Academy, that they're time jumping. They could potentially just try and make an excuse for what they've done so far.
They could have just surprised us and not even announced it, and I would have been cooler with that.
Agreed.
Because all of this is a press run.
Yeah. Anyways, that's the whole show. It's done. We'll be back next week. Once again, you crazy people, make sure you tune in every week. Geektastic Cypher. Oh, also, it's that time of year. Voting. Cult MTL has opened up. So if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, we're going to post a link in the description of the episode. If you're watching or listening, you're going to see it a little bit later. If you're listening to the podcast, you'll see it. And make sure you tune in, guys. That's the whole show. We really appreciate it. Anything you guys want to tell people?
Good. No, we're good. Watch
everything.
Watch all of our old episodes. Go back to our back catalog. Check us out. Twitter, IG, Facebook. Follow Geektastic. Subscribe to the channel. All that fun stuff.
Free on YouTube.
Yeah. You go. Yeah.
Peace, y'all.
Peace, y'all.